we live in for now. But tomorrow or tonight, it might be silent. You know what he talking about? Silent night. Let's just dissect those lyrics. Silent night. Holy night. Tender and mild. Sleep in heavenly peace. You know what that means? That means I have a choir. Y'all hear it? I said that I was going to come on and I was going to say, me and you, your mama and your cousin too. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Listen, y'all. This is my job. Some of y'all do it too, so don't act like I'm brand new. You know what I'm saying? Listen, when I say me and you, your mama and your cousin too, it could be your sister, your neighbor, your grandmammy, anybody. You know what I'm saying? Y'all went through that phase where somebody gonna say they you, and then they gonna say they your cousin too. I have. Y'all know what I'm talking about? They was like, sassafras, whoop, whoop, whoop. I said, that is not her. Because it goes back into what I was talking about earlier. Like, they think they know people, black people. And they feel like, some of them, right? And they feel like they know what someone of my caliber would say if I was around family. But the thing about it is, my family don't even know what I'll say. That's why I'm special. You know what I'm talking about? So it's like, you don't know what someone's family member would say. So when you go into an anarchy, because that's what they are in, for those that's going to see these lives, you're going to say, what is she talking about? It is something that you missed. Thank the big G. Because these ones, they'll say that they are everyone under the sun to mess with you in your mind. Now, if you know that the big G has spoken to you, you are aware that it's not in your mind. That's the best way to explain it. But if an angel were to speak to you in your mind, you would know it. This wouldn't be something, it's totally different. It's not communication in your mind when you're talking to God. It's hard to explain. The thing about it is, certain fractions of archangels do that. When I say Sobri Natashi, that is the highest ranking archangel. Those are the ones that protect God's glory in the cosmos and on the earth. That means everything under the sun is his. And this paradigm shift, because the God goes through evolution too. You know, this paradigm shift, this version of the God, is something that most would not understand because he talks to you in your language. He is not the God of the original, where you were allowed to do whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted, to whomever you wanted. And when he made that covenant with the originals only, he said, I am not going to unikina you, end you, for all the heresies that you committed. What I'm going to do is create a way out for you. And every era was a stepping stone. This is a creation story. Because a lot of you need to realize that you were recreated. And you were recreated so perfectly that whatever you did, he did not ding you for it. In order for him to ding you, that meant you were still the same version. So if you evolved, then you need to thank the big G and only the big G, because he made a way for you out. You know what I'm saying? When I first started really understanding what was taking place with me spiritually, I said something on the lines of, "They God didn't make me an original. The originals have all the power. They the coolest, and this and that." For me, the original means one of the first. But there's always a in between. There's always a last, unless he sees fit. And what that talks about is, if he feels like eons from now that he's going to create another cherub, he's going to do it. Because I know who the last cherub is. I'm talking about full, pure cherub. That means he did not add no sugar and spice to make everything nice. He just made that version. You know, it's kind of like a upgrade. A crossbreed is an upgrade to the original. That's how I see it. I said to my family, my Anakina, which is closest to spiritual family, I said, the big G likes our era the best. And when I said it, all the originals either laughed or said something. Because this is how I do them, y'all. Because they be sitting back so cool, you know. They don't be saying nothing, you know. Even when they moving from dimension to dimension, to plane to plane, to in your house, in your car, in your projects, they don't be saying nothing. So I gotta be slick with it, you know. What y'all don't understand is they are family. So it's like, if they want to talk, they're going to talk to each other. They don't just sit down and say, "I'm going to talk to you, tarot card reader." Because there's so many of them. Why would they do that? Unless they want to put you on. And then you got to question why. Because if an archangel start talking to you, you got to say, "Why are you talking to me?" It makes sense. If I'm not one of you, then why are you talking to me? They're territorial. When they know you're calling on their sign, but in a different version, they're going to listen to you. Because they want to know, what are you? Because when a paradigm shift happens, things come in and out of your body, spiritually and physically. When you get to a certain height, you don't worry about certain things. I gather that he has spent eons formulating a divine plan. Y'all probably feel like the big G could think something up in one day, which he possibly can, but the thing is, how do you mastermind it? You know, how do you perfect it to where you don't break your end of the bargain and the others don't have to either? You know, when you put me in the mix, you know, I'm not out. I say that I went out first, but I'm not. I'm not the first one to go out. There's been others that paved this path before me for me to get here. Has nothing to do with any app. This is spiritual. I said, when I came on this platform, I didn't have none of these issues. I didn't hear nothing spiritually. Others were hearing it, but I didn't know that. I knew of telepathy. I knew of psychics, mediums, and a whole bunch of other spiritual gifts. But I didn't know the meaning of how they inherited it. I didn't know about universe parents, you know. It's different avenues to a spiritual gift, you know. What I'm talking about is some people go a wicked path in order to be able to do things like I do it, you know. It's always like, for instance, there's a famous painting. I talked about this before, that I found in one of the strangest places. It's a rendition. It's not the original painting. It's just a recreation. When I ascended so high, the Anaki, which you know is an archangel, don't repeat that, spoke to me and said, "Where did you get that?" The one that did the painting originally said, "Where did you get that?" And some of you, you've seen it in a frame on my table. So I told him where I got it. He didn't say at first, throw it away. He didn't say it at first. But after you start going through all the emotions, right? What led you to that point to create that painting? What happened after? You decide you don't want to speak about it because he didn't. He said, "I'm glad you threw it away." Because it was already in the trash and probably recycled by the time he even knew that that was something in the void. When I encountered someone when I was in the portal, reading in the portal, interesting enough, I had that painting, the one that's in the frame, on the wall. And remember I told y'all I lived next to a lady that every time there was a full moon, she would howl. I told y'all about that, right? If you were to see her, you would say she was a witch because of her eyes. Her eyes was like wolf eyes or something, but they were clear. I take it she was blind. She was in a wheelchair, but every full moon she would howl. I mean, like, ooh. And one time I thought I caught it on camera, but I'm not sure. Some of you that listen to the background really, really closely, like too close, you probably could hear it maybe a little bit. Because these walls, the walls that they build nowadays are thin. You know what I'm talking about? So I encountered this individual. I had a conversation with him. I'm getting ready for bed. I go take a shower, come out and go to my room. As I'm proceeding to my room, the light flashed and the painting just fell off the wall. Just fell. I go to see what it is. And it's the painting. The light flashed, but it did not turn off. So I'm laughing, right? That was my first, well, it probably wasn't my first encounter with bonds, but it's one that I remember. Because that's what they do. They make your lights flash. That's one of the things they do. I went in and I said, I'm glad it didn't break. Like, the glass didn't break. And I put it back on the wall. I didn't know that that was a rendition of an archangel's family. You know? And so it's like, we get this stuff and we don't know that it holds energy. And depending on who you are, you know, what if you like an enemy to one of these archangels and you got their stuff in your house, project, car, you know, like the whole tying a ribbon to your rearview mirror. Like, what if Ogun don't like you? Ogun Asifio. What if he don't like you? Like, it's like, to the average person, it makes sense. But some people don't see it like that. I'm one of the ones, because it's not just cherubs that this happens to. It's a certain era where so much stuff was done to me in past lives that the God decided that he would not tell me about them. I'm someone that does not remember my past lives. If I happen to come upon some information that pertains to my past life, the archangels that gave birth to me, or the archangels that were in my Asikina family, some kind of way, is either going to make the choice to tell me about that life that they had with me, or they're not. So when you hear all of these different archangels, it is because they know who I am, even if I don't. Like, I was told how many lives I had. That's after, well into my ascension. But because the big G said he don't want that for me. It must have been some real code, right? So when y'all hear me say stuff like, I've been with people in past lives, they with me, you know, every life, it's either a good thing or a bad thing. You know, you never really know. You know, it's like, I gotta figure it out. So coincidentally, right, this is the kicker, y'all. A group of them requested that I don't know nothing about my acquaintance with them in a past life. Or, right, they didn't want me to hear them spiritually or know what they was plotting against me. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty effed up, right? This is what they asked the big G in my name. So it's so many of them perplexed right now as to how I won, how I got out of there. Because everything was set. It was so many snares set to trap me. Not just me, my family, my biological family, and my spiritual family as well. It's like, you know, who feels like they could go up against an archangel? Like, who is bold enough? He is saying Damanashi. What y'all really need to understand is he got that from me. He don't know what Damanashi is. Now he's making Damanashi nemesis of archangels when the Damanashi is the archangels. Like, y'all don't, when I say don't repeat stuff, you feel like some light bulb is gonna come up top of your head and you somehow gonna know more information than me while waiting for me to upload, go live, anything. You sit there salivating, waiting for any archangel to say something so you can say spiritually to Anakinos, those that have separated their presence from their astral body, which you feel are pantheons. So you could tell them. If you knew, like the people on tier 1, they definitely know what they were and their purpose. Is it tier 1 or tier 6? Both. In your life or their life, because not all of you are open enough to do stuff like that. But these ones are. They feel like they're going to go up against the big G and his archangels and then breathe. Like, because I mean, like, who is stupid enough to try to challenge the big G? He's so, like, he can't think correctly without uttering something that he heard from me. Now he's saying Neptune is the one. Who did you get that from? If you tell a tall tale, you descend. These individuals, right, didn't find nothing about astrology interesting. He says cosmetology. Cosmetology. Let's dissect cosmetology. That's where they teach you how to do hair, wash hair. He does not understand anything pertaining to anything astronomical. But let's play some dominoes. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Let me tell y'all, it was a group of them that are being monitored still, right? That felt like that part right there was weak, that he could have left it out. And I'm saying, well, do you know what comes next? Like y'all paying attention to that, which that was done over 30 years ago, right? Yeah, 30 years. He created that song over 30 years ago. Do you know what he said after that, though? That's the thing. Like, it to me is puzzling. Like, some of y'all feel like people get older so you could take their persona, you could take their energy, their music. You feel like you could just take something without having no experience, and then you say, "Let me call Fig and see if he could put me on a beat for free." Like, who want to be a producer and nobody want to pay for a beat? Everybody wants something for free. You ain't even got no heat. If you ain't got no heat, you shouldn't be asking for free beats. I'm just saying. Like, nothing comes for free. When you're talking about the industry, they gonna look you straight in your face and say, this is business. And then they gonna pull out that Glock on you because, it's funky. You know what? Why y'all feel like it's different with other nationalities? Like any group, when it's about business, they're gonna go in a trunk on you. When it's about their family, they're gonna go to the side door on you. Don't get it twisted. That is the reason why you have the right to bear arms. You know what I'm saying? It's all kind of LAWS's that say that you are in your right to do so. Now, it's always a consequence to pay, you know? When he did that live telling people, or he did something on the gram, telling people, informing people about arms, some of y'all just bypassed it like it wasn't no big thing. But he was putting you up on free game and letting you know that he has that right at the same time. See, the thing about being connected is you got to be connected with the right people. If you connected with everybody at the bottom, that means you stay at the bottom. Look at me. I'm connected. I got the big G. You know what I'm saying? I got the big G. I got his angels, you know? I feel like I'm connected. You know what I'm saying? Let me tell y'all something. Y'all hear me say things specifically when they act like they my sister, my children. But it's not just them. They didn't say it about my grandma. If I had a dog, they would say it was my dog. You know what I'm saying? Time more. You know? Cousins. The thing about it is y'all got to realize, right, that y'all are beings. So that means it's a possibility they were told who you were to them. And you might not even know it. Then they gonna gauge your temperature. They're gonna come around you. You already feel you already feel because you done heard something. You done heard something spiritually, so you like, man, let me just see. Because I could be tripping. You know what I'm saying? I might have been on one that night, you know what I'm saying? You know, my mama told me not to do this. I done called everybody, told them to pray for me and everything, you know what I'm saying? Once you get over the fact that you're not on one, you're not tripping, this is a real experience, okay? You say, wait a minute now. I was in that part where I know somebody was saying a lie about me. So wait a minute, this could be you give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I didn't hear stuff correctly. Because when the big G say, now is your time, that means you need to confess what you did, what you didn't do. You know what I'm saying? Just like that, because it's a certain part that you get to, right? It's over, so it don't make no difference. The next one gonna be different, y'all, so don't trip. You get to the next phase, right? And you encounter individuals that's been saying that they you your whole entire life. You don't know where they at. They may have not been born at the same time in the same place, same hospital. Everything is you. You don't know if they know your mama, your mama's mama, or they mamas know your mama's mama, because that's how reincarnation go. You always reincarnate around the same individuals until the debt is paid. This is a fact, y'all. I'm putting you up on spiritual game. Because you're ascended beings, now you got to question everyone you encounter. When I say even the snowman is somebody that you know from a past life. You may not know that individual the same way, but you didn't encounter this person some kind of way. Sometimes you need that person to open up the door to the next individual. So say your karma is done with this individual, right? The store man, just for instance. But in order for you to encounter karmic debt with that you may or may not owe, all right? They could owe you. Or their mama, cousin, something may owe you, but you just gotta be, you gotta be, in acquaintance with that person to open the door up for that energy, right? Because the guy said, hey, not D, because y'all be funny with it, right? It's ascend or no more. So this the last hoorah. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a certain group that when they know they going out, and some of this isn't, some of this I talk about in detail on tier 1. It's a donation tier. Y'all, come on now, y'all. It's $10. Or wait 6 months or possibly a year, depending on how I feel. I'm telling you what you need to know. So goofy. That when they going out, they know they being reincarnated because they were told that they were being reincarnated. One didn't realize he was gonna be a dog. Y'all think I'm playing. I am not capping. Y'all know the big G will do you like that. So I mean, because that's a way for you to be in the same family, but in a different energy, for the purpose of serving out or receiving debt. I feel like it's poetic justice. Say, for instance, right? Somebody gets reincarnated and they're a dog, that life. One just gotta think, right? For the big G to put your being in a dog, what you do to dogs? You know what I'm talking about? It's poetic justice to me. I feel good because I know for a fact it's gonna be a silent night. Yeah. When you get to that point for this paradigm shift, when the individuals that I know went through this particular phase of ascension, when they got through that to that point, they wanted to know which one of their family members were saying things, right? Who was saying what, who was doing what, who was accusing the other person. But it wasn't just family by hemoglobin, DNA. It was also close friends like family. This is what it all has to be worked out. It's a group trying to figure out what type of angel they are because it's not documented. I done already said principalities are not angels, regardless to what you see on that chart. Principalities are not angels. Judges are not angels. Messengers are not angels. Powers are not angels. I know because the big G told me. As the time goes on, I'm going to explain how that all came about. Some of you already have a notion of how, because you know for a fact somebody destiny swapped on you. You know it. And you're saying why? It varies. Now, since I know it's been some that has gotten past life, present karma readings, you have to understand that you need more than one. Because when I do one, that may or may not clear that energy for that timeline. It depends on what comes out and depends on what you do after. I done said several different ways that when the big G say you got to depart from that circle, regardless to how you know them, because he's not going to put you in a paradigm shift and tell you to separate from an adolescent child. But if a child that you bore is an adult, then he's telling you that for a reason. You know, just a few hours ago, I was saying, why should they blame the big G? It's always somebody got to take the blame. You got to be careful with individuals that don't ever want to say they wrong, they made a mistake. You got to be careful. And I don't like the word careful, but I really mean it. I don't like the word the word careful because in a certain place when you say be careful, that's a threat. That's why. I take it as a threat. Everyone from my era would surely take it as a threat, just like my ninja. Let's break it down. When I said spiritually to those Isikinas, be cautious of the ones saying my ninja for various reasons. Some of them, they really mean it. Like when dude said my man, and y'all heard my mans, I'm going to say about 15 years ago, I did a post on the book, right? Don't try to look for it because they already flagged me for it, and I took it down. This is before you could put a $sign next to your name, right? I said it. The ones that's running around and I always want to be around other dudes, you know, they into the same gender. It's nothing wrong with it, right? But y'all masking it as you so hard, you a savage, you a beast. And y'all really creeping in them sheets. You know what I'm talking about? Because no man that I know of want to spend 16 hours with another dude. And if you say, don't talk about my wife, you know what I'm saying? Don't talk about my baby mama. You know, I might not like her, but you're not going to say nothing about her. Don't talk about my baby mama. And they say something like, bros over O's, you know, money over beesies or something, you know, my ninja, you know. And y'all like 36, 32. I mean, you know, y'all not in high school. You're not in college. You like grown. You know, at some point, it's like, come on, man. You know, you know, there's not too much action happening in your 30s, you know, where you got to spend 16 hours plus, unless you're in the studio, with another dude. At some point, you gonna want, unless you into him, and that's you know, that's if that's what you like, whatever floats your boat. I don't care, but don't, you know, don't push down all the females and the women, you know, because of your preference, and then try to snare other dudes into that belief system, because that's what they doing. Y'all listen. I was at work one time. This is when I ran the after school program in Allegheny Jets, at all places, right? I'm at work and I go into the store. I think I encountered this at the store. You know, it had to be at the store. And I see, like, you know, that y'all remember, some of y'all old enough. There used to be magazines, right? You know, the boy put a Playboy, you know, but this one, right? This one had thugs on it. They had, you know what I'm saying? They had scarves on, baggy pants and everything, you know. Y'all already know what was going down in there. That was not for females. I'm talking about full-fledged, you know, hands crossed around their chest. Nothing wrong with it. But what I'm saying is, that's what they was doing. You know? Y'all know you know, no cap. Y'all know. When y'all start looking and surveying your entourage, you know, you could be like, he one of them. It's good, you know. It's good, you know. Because they, you know, if you start saying something wrong with it, you know, they're going to try to, you know, say in their mind, he has a, he is a, he is not accepting. And they only say it in their mind because if they were to say it in front of your face, they would blow their cover. I want to talk about why all y'all feel like it's only, you know, individuals that are with the same gender in San Francisco. Why y'all put that on us? Because from my understanding, the population is, you know, it's not San Francisco. I'm just saying. It's not why y'all, you know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with it, but y'all try to, because they use this, you know, they say the dudes from here are this way because it's San Francisco. And San Francisco is known for this. And you know, and everybody know that the biggest community is in the ATL. Y'all already, come on now. The coloreds, come on. Stop playing. Now, I mean, it's gonna be some that say she right, you know. It's gonna be some that say it's the town, you know. Because you just never know if you're creeping down Broadway or something. Either one. You just never know what you're gonna see. Y'all remember when I was telling y'all I was a peachy puff girl? Somebody thought that meant like a purr. You know what I'm talking about? Put a strip in front of it. That's a cigarette and candy lady. You know what I'm saying? You know how in the movies, you got you got the woman walking around in the heels. You know, the little thick heels with the skirt on and the little tray with the gum candy. Yeah, and the cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? I only did it for a couple of hours because you know my feet started hurting. So I was like, that's not for me. But when I did it, I was, you know, up there on Broadway, you know, because that was the hot spot at that time. That's where everybody went to go party, you know, the Palladium and all of that. You know, it's a certain different type of energy there. People was willing to spend $20 for some cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? So I was gonna sell them to them. Now, you know, depending on which family sees this, family members, they say so she was a, because they don't know. You know, they don't know what I do outside of their eyes. You know what I'm saying? Case in point, your friend. He always want me to release a membership reading, and then he say out loud, because his mama not there when he say it, I got her to do that. He knows that archangels are monitoring him, not demonishes. It's a different fraction. Y'all keep saying y'all want to anything that I when I said it's Fallon, not falling. Y'all all decided that y'all was not Fallons. That you were fallen because you fell from grace. I mean, that it some not all of them went as extreme as Necro. Not all of them did that. But what ended up happening was they encountered those that did. So when they hear someone say, I am, they don't know that it cuts off. And they hear someone else that's just like them. It's like a sequence. Because you at that phase, you can only say 3 words. And then you're going to hear 3 words from somebody else. The reason why it's important is because the HELL Raisers want me to talk about it because their fraction is there. And they want to know why they're hearing certain things. Y'all don't know that the women angels don't listen to all of that. That's the way the big G wants it. There's certain fractions for certain things. You want to talk about androgynous and who they govern. They don't govern anyone. It's important because they feel like they can call on an angel that I tell them about because they're going to be on my team too. It makes more sense to do what the other goofies did and grab a book and just start calling them. At least you ain't going through me. That's smarter. If I were you, which I'm not, because I wouldn't even do that. If we were in if I was in your place, because you won't ever be in mine, so we're just gonna cut that out the equation, right? If I was in your place, I wouldn't pick up a book like that. I wouldn't purchase one or nothing like that. My children know I don't gravitate towards stuff like that. I'm talking about my adult children. They didn't see my library. They know I don't have that, you know. And so it's like whatever you decide to spend your coins on is the energy that you are in. That's what you want. The reason why they go to the dark stuff, right? It's a lot wrong with it because it's misinformation. This is why y'all don't have protection because y'all, you think a certain way about the ones that are supposed to protect you. So now their job is easier because they don't have to. And I mean, who you gonna tell? You gonna tell the big G when the big G said throw it away 2 years ago? He had me throw away books too. I'm like, this book cost me woo woo woo. You know, why you I didn't even because he had me do it more than once. I threw away the first batch, right? And when I finally got around to asking them, because I didn't ask them the first time, why you want me to throw away? Not only that, I threw away a lot of decks, right? When I got around to asking them, he said because the right archangel didn't give you permission to get that. You said it now. You can leave. The right archangel wasn't there in order to commission me to get it. So for me, I have to have the right energy around me before I could purchase certain type of books. Because that one gonna keep coming back until, she makes y'all feel like I'm like y'all. So now she's gone. I ain't gotta deal with her no more. Because you didn't have permission. She didn't have permission. That is one of the ones that separated their presence. The reason why she sounds like an aristocrat is because the archangel voice that she is using does not like her. So she has to go to a certain plane. And when she goes there, I always say, I don't want to work with you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to, because I don't like the energy there. She is the demonic she, the one that says, as I get you to. This is someone else's thoughts that she is repeating. Do y'all get it? All the voices that come through me are archangels. All of them. But I can't get rid of them until I say certain things that they want me to say. Now, y'all know why it's going to be a silent night. You know what I'm talking about? I do it all the time. With her, right, I know who she is in a different energy. She is one of the ones that'll make you do like that. When she does it to me on camera, it's because she knows who's going to see it and who it's for. It is so many that feel like if they could just get my team, they could bypass me, not surpass me. This is another one, y'all, so you know. If I could just work with her family and not her, then I'll win. But they don't like you. That's the point. My biological family wouldn't like you, and my spiritual family don't like you. This is a fact. All right. Nobody in anything with a Lee on it, they're not gonna like you. I'm telling you. I don't know why you feel like, yeah, some of y'all feel like you know my cousins or something. Do y'all know my cousins? Do I need to do a cousin reading? He trying to remember Candyman's name. You know Candyman? I'm sure he'd be interested to know what you know about him. Because I know him personally. So, what you know about him? Every time. Because they feel like I'm not going to say people's names that they feel are factors. When I say them all the time. I say their names all the time. I say it spiritually if the big G want me to, because that means there's something that needs to be done there. You're not finna like put nothing on me when it's clearly you. Let me tell you something. I had not ever been in his jet, home, or none of that. Ever. I've been in his car. Now what you gonna say? Oh, my bad. He was in mine. Now what you gonna say? Anybody got anything to say? You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. What he was doing in my car is none of your business. Now that everybody, I think that's a couple of thumbs up for that. Thank you. Now that everybody know, he ain't the only one, that done, been in my car. You know what I'm talking about? That was before my spiritual spouse. You know what I'm talking about? See, because you never know who knows somebody who feel like they got something over you. So when you just got to put it out there in the air where it's fair, you just put it out there like, what? You know what I'm saying? Who gonna do something about it? Who got something to say? I didn't say that's my baby daddy. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say that's my ninja. I said he been in my car. The problem is when you not giving up lies to entertain somebody so they can feel like they could go around him and start smiling and stuff like he's 16 or something. That's a grown man. Going over there and start smiling, thinking you know his business, and watch what happens. Y'all don't get it. I'm a different breed. I ain't snaked nobody. I know one of his baby mamas. Some people say we look alike. So now what? The problem here is I gotta put it out in the air where it's fair. Because it's one of these dudes and females that be around y'all that keeps up a whole bunch of mess. They run around saying they this person, they that person. They saying who slept with who didn't sleep with who got a baby with who, putting people with other people and they got the same name, but it's a whole different person. That's the issue. When you go around them, they gonna say, you wanna hit this? You know, some old weirdo stuff, you know, to try to gauge your temperature. So my advice is to not be around no weirdos. That is